I want to cut across right now to Rajdeep Sardesai, our consulting editor, who's joining us live. Rajdeep, I'm sure you've gone through some of the exit poll numbers, even though big pollsters like Seawater haven't quite declared their results just about yet. They're going to take another day. What do you make of it? Because if you look at it directionally, Rajdeep, all of these pollsters, or rather most of them, are giving the BJP a clear edge.
Thanks very much, Preeti. Look, after what happened in 2024, I think we should take all pollsters with a bucket full of salt. Particularly what we saw during the Lok Sabha elections and indeed in Haryana should suggest that we need to have statutory warnings about pollsters. There's a huge question mark over their methodology or over their sample sizes, over their raw data. And look at the wide variation. Yes, you're right. Directionally, about half a dozen polls are giving a clear win to the BJP. But you've got two who are giving a hung assembly, and then you've got two who are giving a big victory to Aam Aadmi Party. Now, it's a very hazardous business to predict a poll in a state like Delhi where there are only 70 seats, where, Preeti, remember this time the Congress Party is also hoping in about a dozen seats to have some kind of an impact, if not win, then at least decide who wins. All of that makes polling very hazardous, but it's very clear that unlike 2015 and 2020, which were cakewalks or big sweeps for AAP, that's not going to happen this time. It's a tight, close contest. There is anti-incumbency after 10 years in power, and therefore one cannot rule out the possibility of the BJP returning to power in Delhi after 3 decades. And the Aam Aadmi Party, if you look at the overall trend, has been on the back foot. I think if there is one solace, Preeti, that the Aam Aadmi Party will have, it is the gender and income issues, the gender and income gap. I think we can explore those more closely. Some of the polls, I saw one just now, the ones which are giving Aam Aadmi Party a big victory.
Right. I'm going to come right back to, what is seemingly, a caste consolidation and a counter consolidation or the woman vote. But when you're looking at these figures, Rajdeep, because these are seat projections, would you have rather have vote share projections? Because, one really doesn't understand how much would have the Aam Aadmi Party need to fall in terms of the seat projections that are coming in right now by these pollsters.
Look, I have no problem if pollsters are putting their neck out and giving numbers. If they get it right, good luck to them. If they get it wrong, there should be a mea culpa. Look, they are perfectly entitled to go beyond vote share and give seat share. Translating vote share into seat share is very hazardous. And I think particularly, as I said, because it's triangular. Look, if the Congress Party does not cross 7-8%, which is double of what they got last time, around 4%, then I think it's advantage AAP. If the Congress crosses 8%, it is clearly then starting to diminish the Aam Aadmi Party vote. We don't know by how much, but that becomes a major factor. Let's also be clear. There is enough evidence through these polls and anecdotal evidence that the middle classes who had voted strongly for Aam Aadmi Party, especially 10 years ago, a large section of it is drifting back to the BJP. The BJP already has a solid 36 to 38% vote share in Delhi, which has increased during Lok Sabha elections in Delhi 2014, 19 and 2024 to over 50%. So there is a solid BJP vote already there. With that solid BJP vote, if the Aam Aadmi vote starts shrinking and the Congress starts damaging it, then the BJP definitely has a real chance to win Delhi. So that's the direction in which some polls are going. The polls which are showing Aam Aadmi Party winning are basically saying Aam Aadmi Party has an 8 to 10% lead among women. That is the one thing that perhaps will give the Aam Aadmi Party some solace, because those polls are also showing the Congress not crossing 7% mark. So I think there are two things that we will have to, or three factors we will have to look forward to closely on counting day. One, the gender gap. Is there a big divergence between the way men are voting and women are voting? Number two, the income gap. Is there a big divergence between middle class colonies and jhuggi jhopdi areas? I will also add here the religion and caste factor. 10 constituencies, Muslim dominated, 12 Dalit constituencies, most of which the BJP has not won in the assembly in the last 25 years. That factor also will have to be looked at. And of course, the fact that the BJP has made a conscious effort in the outer Delhi areas, Jat Gujar areas, to try and bring back some of the vote that it gets in Lok Sabha, but doesn't
Right.
get in Vidhan Sabha. So that paradox of Delhi, where people used to vote for Modi for Delhi, Modi for center and Kejriwal for Delhi, can the BJP alter that if they
Okay.
can?
Rajdeep,
Then
we're
I
having a
think
bit of a network issue with you. Just stay with us. We're going to just try and correct it. Rahul Verma, I want to get you into this conversation because what the exit polls have done, at least the ones that have been released, is made the election very, very interesting. What do you make of the numbers that we have right now? Because you have most of the exit poll, the data that is come in, is at least directionally giving Delhi to the Bharatiya Janata Party. 2, seemingly predicting a hung house. 2, giving it to the Aam Aadmi Party. Would you have rather also seen the vote share? Because this would suggest at least the one that is giving it to the BJP, there is 5% and over gap between the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party.
Of course, as someone who looks polling
Right.
number very, very carefully, I care about vote shares more than seat projections. I don't like just seat projection because once I get the vote share, I have some idea of what the movement of votes is happening. See, for BJP to win Delhi, they need at least 9% vote swing towards them. For that, AP must be losing somewhere around 10 to 12% because not everything will be going towards BJP. Some of it might also go towards Congress, right? When 12% swing happens, then the BJP is going to gain 25 to 28 seats more. They already had 8 seats, and that will basically bring BJP past the magic figure of 36. I think 10 to 12% swing is not easy to get. It happens, but it's not all like in a probable sense. It's not always that's going to happen. 2, I think Rajdeep made a very interesting point about this distinction between Lok Sabha election and Vidhan Sabha election. So BJP gets 39% in Vidhan Sabha and gets 55% in Lok Sabha, which means that there is a 16% voter which leaves them. And that is like BJP needs to get half of those voters. They are not purely middle class, like all of them middle class. So I think what the third point is that BJP will definitely gain in vote share and seat share. What we don't yet know is that whether those gains would be enough to take them past halfway mark. Delhi Assembly has been a tough nut for BJP to crack. They have never won except 1993 when the state started holding legislative election. So for 27 years, they have been sitting in opposition. So it's there is also a psychological thing for BJP to be able to make that kind of a gap.
Rajdeep, we've often spoken of something which is a class war that is taking place in the national capital. Of late, the last 3 or 4 days especially, the BJP has made it very clear that, they feel that their narrative, their campaign has picked up, but they're trying to attach their political bandwagon in New Delhi to the middle class, where lies the maximum floating vote when it comes down to the Delhi. Do you see that the Aam Aadmi Party would be able to benefit with the counter class polarization, or this time it's very difficult?
Look, it is difficult for both sides. Remember, one side is facing 10 years of anti-incumbency. That's not easy always to defeat. The other side needs to get a section of the vote from the Jhopri clusters, which have been the traditional areas where the Aam Aadmi Party has dominated. And as Rahul Verma put it, remember, 55% vote for the BJP in the Lok Sabha. So there is a large section of the BJP voter who switches during Vidhan Sabha. That voter may well return. You see, the hope that the BJP will have is that the same voter who 6 months ago overwhelmingly voted for the BJP, at least half of that stays with them. So 55 becomes 46, 47. At that number, Aam Aadmi Party with the Congress picking up 7-8% is in trouble. So there is the Congress voter. How much of the Aam Aadmi Party's voter goes back to the Congress? There is talk in some Muslim areas also where there are strong individual Congress candidates like Kasturba Nagar, Abhishek Dutt, who can take a large chunk of the AAP vote. So there is that factor. Plus, there is the factor that the BJP, you're absolutely right, has worked on consolidating the middle class vote. The budget also was one element of that. But in general, the anger against Mr. Kejriwal's government has largely been in the middle class. Even issues like Sheesh Mahal, issues like water pollution, issues like air pollution, quality of roads resonate much more about middle class. The free power, free bus rides resonate more among lower income groups. You're right, there's a class war at one level, there's a gender war at a second level, and I think there is a general sense that the BJP has used every possible state machinery this time, including, according to the Aam Aadmi Party, the police, to try and ensure in close contests they get an advantage, particularly
Right.
because they accuse the election commission of standing by when there are serious accusations of voter suppression or question marks over voter electoral roll. So all in all, I think the BJP is far better positioned this time compared to 2015 or 2020. No doubt about that. Whether it is good enough to win 35 to 40 seats, we don't know. But as the polls, some of them say, they are. So we'll have to wait and see. This could go down to the wire yet again.
You're actually saying this could be a hung house, Rajdeep?
No, look, I think, no, look, there was a hung house, if you recall, in 2013, but that was when the Congress was a much stronger party. I'm not clear that there'll be a hung house. I think one side will be over 40. If, as I said, all the factors go in favor of the BJP in terms of the middle class vote consolidating behind it fully, a break in the AAP vote, yes, I think advantage definitely to the BJP.
Right.
If the AAP can retain its gender and income base, then I still believe the AAP still has a bigger lead over the BJP when it comes to state
we're going to
elections.
talk a bit more about that, but let me bring in Rahul Verma. Rahul Verma, the numbers that we see right now projected in favor of the BJP, could it actually be possible that it's entirely the middle class that has propelled it? Because it seems to be a lot more than just that. Figures, 2020, and correct me if I'm wrong, 53% of the proverbial middle class in Delhi had voted for the Aam Aadmi Party. But in Delhi, the middle class is no monolith. There is the lower middle class, which actually still, lives in unauthorized colonies. They drink, they look at all the subsidies that Aam Aadmi Party has to offer. So, would you think there are many cogs within the wheel that are working right now?
Yes.
And it could go either way?
First, if I may request, let's not use the word class war, because war, in a way, goes in a very different direction. There is a divide in voting patterns among the two classes.
Caste consolidation.
Yeah, caste consolidation is fine, class divide is fine. But war, in fact, is basically the next level of things. And I hope in no part of this country that happens. The second, I think, what seems to be happening is that Kejriwal has definitely lost his sheen. I think if you think about like 2015 to 2020, you would hear very few negative voices against Kejriwal. I think between 20 to 25, that sheen, that aura of Kejriwal has been now challenged. And so BJP cannot alone, as you rightly pointed out, win because of consolidation in its base of middle classes. They will have to wean away a section of women voters.
And Congress would need to eat into that, yes.
To win, many things have to work in favor of BJP. You have to remember, Delhi is a tough state for BJP. And for them to be able to touch 40 seats, they need to bring many factors together. The reason why Delhi has been a tough thing for BJP, and Congress ruled for 15 years, and then you can think of 12 to 13 years of AP. And largely because both these parties had a very serious base among Delhi's religious minorities, Delhi's poor, and also women voters, right? And so unless these three things, even if there is chipping of votes from poor, from women, and maybe Congress and AMIM picking up some Muslim votes, only then I think it creates a chance for BJP.
Rahul, we're going to just go to the election intelligence dashboard. I'm going to bring you in, Rajdeep. I'm going to bring you in because, add to it, Rajdeep. Go ahead, add to it.
There are 25 seats, even more possibly, that the BJP has not won since 1998, right? So therefore, it is clear that the BJP is working from a much smaller base in Delhi than its rivals. These are primarily Muslim-dominated, Dalit-dominated. Today, I was hearing reports, for example, from Okla, where the BJP has a chance because, remember, there's an AIMIM, Congress, and AAP candidate competing for the Muslim vote. There are such constituencies possibly where the BJP for the first time is hoping a division in if the anti-BJP vote benefits it. So, you see, there are a couple of Dalit SC constituencies like that, couple of Muslim constituencies. More importantly, there are outer Delhi constituencies dominated at one time by the Congress, now by the AAP. So the BJP works in Delhi from a much smaller base. Out of 70
Right.
constituencies, there are about 50 constituencies where the BJP is a serious contender. They have to win 35 out of 50. So they have to
Fair point.
effectively do a Maharashtra kind situation in Delhi. Not easy,
You know,
but not impossible if there is a wave. The
yeah,
anti-incumbency against Kejriwal's government, how deep is it? I think that will decide this election, because this election, make no mistake, is about Kejriwal. Do
you're
you want
right.
him back as chief minister, or do you not want him?
You're right.
That
You're right,
is the
Rajdeep. Because
main
that's
issue.
right. This is something that we've been saying. This is a referendum election for or against Kejriwal. When we are speaking about waves, then if there is an anti-incumbency wave against Arvind Kejriwal. But, Rajdeep and Rahul, I'll bring you back in again because we've been talking about class. But a lot of caste, religious identities actually merge with class identities where Delhi comes into question. And I want to just turn to our election intelligence dashboard to make our viewers actually understand and give them better perspective. And Rajdeep, please add to it, because let's look at the caste fault lines in Delhi. Dalit, the seats that were impacted by the Dalit vote in Delhi are 22 of 7, are in fact, 23 seats in all. Aam Aadmi Party won 22, only one was won by the Bharatiya Janata Party, Rajdeep. And even in this, there are 12 reserved seats for the SC. All 12 of them were swept by the Aam Aadmi Party in 2020. This is also, Rajdeep, we might talk of it as the Dalit vote, but this is also a vote that lies in the Jhuggi Jhopdi slum clusters, which is traditionally seen as an out-and-out Arvind Kejriwal vote in Delhi. Now, the BJP, along with taking a chunk of the middle class, would need to make inroads here as well.
Oh, absolutely. As I said, these are mainly these constituencies that the BJP hasn't won in the last 25 years. This doesn't mean that you can't win them. Every constituency no longer remains permanently with one party. I saw this time in Maharashtra, constituencies which the Congress had not lost for 30 years, the Congress lost in those. So the BJP needs a bit of a wave election. If this has been a wave election, turnout doesn't suggest at the moment a wave election, but it is
Right.
but anecdotally, there is enough evidence to say that there was a considerable anger at one level against AAP candidates on the ground, which is why the AAP had to change as many as 18, 19 candidates. So given that, if it is a wave election, then some of these constituencies that have never voted for the BJP or never voted a BJP candidate for 25 years can shift. Many of these areas, remember Lok Sabha, the BJP wins. You see, that is the paradox. The hope that the BJP has is that the same voter who voted it in Lok Sabha will stay with the party, unlike in 2015 and 20. That's the big hope the BJP is banking on.
Rajiv, you're also going to talk about the Muslim vote, so stay with us. I'll bring in Rahul Verma to talk about the Dalit vote, because Rahul Verma, other than I would reckon Rohtas Nagar, which was won by the BJP of the 23 Dalit impacted seats, it was taken by the Aam Aadmi Party. But this is also, Rahul Verma, a vote bank that the Congress hopes to pull back. And, Rajdeep was right, because did the Aam Aadmi affect a lot of changes? Out of the 17, AAP MLAs that they replaced, 6 came in from this very belt, which is the SC vote.
So
the role of the Congress here.
Preeti, if you look at this map,
right,
you can draw a line which will basically divide Delhi into two, right? And so all your SC seats or SC dominated seats are concentrated in one sort of like part of Delhi, right? When you start putting other things such as Muslim seats or poorer seats, all will again overlap in the same region. I'm not saying there won't be any seat in the other part, but like you have basically, if not 3 Delhis, you have 2 Delhis. And these 2 Delhis have been voting very, very differently. One Delhi had stayed with Congress for a very, very long period of time, and then now it stays with the Aam Aadmi Party. BJP, the reason it has not been able to break in and form government for them is because BJP has not been able to cross that line and break into these sort of like Dalit localities, in poor localities, and that continues to remain a big challenge for them.
All right, I'm going to come right back and we're going to put out the data, Rajdeep, for the Muslim seats. 11 seats that are impacted, and we'll put the data out there for our viewers to understand with our election intelligence dashboard. 11 seats are impacted where it comes down, where the Muslim vote is concerned, which stands about 12.6% in Delhi. And Rajdeep, this is the area which could, many suggest, the Achilles heel for the Aam Aadmi Party. Till now, they were a default option. The Congress is going for the kill in these areas. Look at that, 2020, out of those 11 seats, Aam Aadmi Party won 9.
Look, remember there were the riots of 2020.
True.
Remember these riots took place in Delhi Northeast. Remember that in Delhi Northeast, actually the BJP picked up 3 of its 8 seats. So it's not as if the BJP didn't benefit for some level of, you see, when you say Muslim seats, we should be very conscious of the fact they all have also large Hindu populations. Barring a couple where, you have a over 50% population of Muslims, many of them will have large. The BJP will hope that there is a division of vote. You will recall in 2020 after Shaheen Bagh, that was the BJP's hope, that there would be a split in the Hindu-Muslim vote. It didn't happen. You see, Delhi's demographics are such. There is no area that you can say does not have, with a few exceptions, what I would call a mixed population, both in terms of income, in some instances in terms of religion and caste. There are Punjabi bastion seats also in West Delhi. Let's not forget that. There are outer Delhi seats with large Jat Gujar population.
True.
Delhi is a bit of a melting pot. There are Purvanchali seats also which come into place. In 2015 and 2020, if you see, the BJP, the Aam Aadmi Party swept across groups. That's not clearly happening now. Now you're seeing a splintering.
Exactly. But Rajdeep, do you think for this kind of result, then what we've seen has been a traditional voting pattern in 2015 and 2020 where, there's a class vote bank, identity such as religion and caste falls by the wayside. That will not happen. That is where then caste and religion, everything will prevail over class for the kind of projections that we see right now.
You see, in 2015 in particular, Aam Aadmi Party almost came on the debris of the Congress. The Congress had won 3 consecutive elections. Aam Aadmi Party rose on the debris of the Congress, the decline among traditional Congress voters, especially Dalit, Muslim and poorer voters of Delhi. By 2020 was more interesting because by then Mr. Modi's popularity was at its peak. And I still, it was interesting that the Aam Aadmi Party was able to hold on almost to this wider class coalition that it had created on the ground. Has that class coalition now completely broken down come 2025 because of a growing frustration, anger, anxiety? I think that's what we have to see. That's what the BJP is banking on. Rahul Verma is spot on. You can't win an election only by middle class consolidation because, as you rightly said, who is the middle class? Right? If I'm earning less than 7 lakhs, that's about 60,000 a month. Am I middle class or not? There are lots of other smaller groups also who are dependent on free bus rides, for example, who want free power. How many of those groups have stayed with Kejriwal because of those freebies? How many of them have switched over to the BJP because they believe that you should have the same government at the center and the state, that there is still a Modi effect? All of this, I think, is the reason why you're seeing cracks. I think it's clear there are cracks in the coalition the Aam Aadmi Party established. Are those cracks serious enough for them to lose the election? Or are they simply enough to have a close contest? I think that's what it boils down to.
Rajiv, we're going to bring in our political spokespersons and we're going to let you go. Rajiv will be back in the studio on Saturday, the 8th of February.